Good afternoon and welcome to today's edition of Career Coaching and Mentoring class, brought to you by Sedat Consult with support from Logo Brand. Career Coaching and Mentoring class, or CCMC, comes your way every Sunday at 4 p.m. on Zoom, and it is aimed at providing you with real-time career counseling and coaching to help you make the right decisions concerning your career issues and also help you position yourself to take your career to the next level. Every Sunday we come your way with this program and we bring experts who would help us discuss issues that pertain to the workplace and career development or career advancement. Career Coaching and Mentoring class is brought to you by Sedat Consult with support from Logo Brand. Please contact Logo Brand on 020-395-4216, 020-395-4216 for all your branding and graphic designing needs. Today we are discussing ethics at the Ghanaian workplace. And we are looking at how ethics impact or influence our career advancement. In the first place, we'll look at what ethics are, and we'll look at what workplace ethics are. And then we find out if there are any implications for our career advancement. Because there have been instances where people have been promoted or have not been promoted based on the kind of attitude or ethics that they demonstrate at the workplace. Some say that people want to work, or employers want to work with people who have the right attitude. And most often than not, you get rewarded for putting out the right attitude. And so what right attitude are we supposed to even demonstrate at the workplace in the first place? And what actually pertains, I'm sure that in our various or at our various workplaces, we've had instances where we can attest to the fact that workplace ethics go a long way to help us in our career development or our career advancement. And we are blessed this afternoon to be hosting one of the people that I really look up to, that I admire so much. He is the chairman of the board of directors for Sedat Consult, and he is also a PhD holder. He is a corporate governance expert and also ethics expert. So we are actually in the hands of an expert who will help us understand the issues when it comes to workplace ethics and career advancement. Dr. Boadu is a corporate governance and business ethics expert and also business solutions consultant with a PhD in corporate governance from Plymouth University, UK. And he is also the chairman, actually, of the board of directors of Sedat Consult Limited. Our guest this afternoon, Dr. Boadu, is the expert, so he will help us appreciate some of the issues and, more importantly, the lessons that we can learn so that we'll position ourselves well for our career growth and advancement. Thank you so much, Dr. Boadu. Thank you. We are grateful. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
We are privileged to be having you. We know how busy you are, and as always available to share knowledge and to impart lives. Thank you so much for accepting to do this with us. Thank you, though.
You're welcome.
Right. So as usual, let's start from the basics. And when we talk of ethics, we are discussing ethics and the Ghanaian workplace implications for career advancement. So when we talk of ethics and workplace ethics, what exactly are we talking about? So we are clear in our minds what we are discussing.
Well, thank you very much, Patricia. The concept ethics, and I'm quite sure we're probably looking at ethics in a generic sense, and then probably business ethics, and then workplace ethics.
Sure.
Probably for the purpose of this section, and then also to guide your listeners to make it more concise and then more specific. We will reduce the jargons and then try to make it more practical and then relation.
Sure.
So in simple terms, when we say ethics, is basically to do with the set of moral principles that govern the behavior of individuals. And so in a nutshell, we're looking at the set of societal rules. And I mean, societal here can be conceptualized to mean the office situation, communities we find ourselves, district we find ourselves, the department we find ourselves, and things like that. But the most important thing here is when we're talking of ethics, we're talking about the moral principles guiding the conduct or the behavior of an individual being right or being wrong and being good or bad. Those principles are set in place by society, by the group in which one belongs. Now, this group defines what conduct, what behavior is considered acceptable and what conduct or behavior is considered unacceptable. If the conduct is acceptable, we say it's ethical. And when it's not acceptable by society, then we say it's unethical. However, individuals do have their set of principles that guide their judgment and their understanding of what is right or wrong. And normally, it is informed by their religious backgrounds and their inner level family cultural dynamics. Those become morals. And so you have one end morality, another end ethics, and these two most of the times are used interchangeably. One has to do more with societal standards. The other has to do more with the individual. And of course, I'm talking about morality, individual standards as to what behavior is judged to be right or is judged to be wrong. Now, in talking about workplace ethics, it's simply the application of these ethical principles or moral principles in business or at the workplace. And one would expect certain acceptable behavior considered right, certain acceptable behaviors considered wrong, and if they are wrong, it's not expected that the individual pursue such conduct. So in brief, that's what I will say. Ethics and in the broader context, workplace ethics is basically the moral principles that are accepted at the workplace that employees are expected to put up that govern the way they perform at the workplace. And of course, it means that that's what the employers are expecting of employees.
So what are some of these values or moral principles? Right. So then before you come to some of the moral principles or values, I'm wondering, so from the explanation you gave, that it means that what could be ethical in one jurisdiction or one society may be unethical in another society. Does it mean that it's not everything that is accepted everywhere in the world?
Okay, I think the answer to that, you're right in the first, the first statement. But the answer to it is yes and then no.
Okay.
A behavior could be ethical, conduct could be ethical in one jurisdiction or within a given society, but maybe unethical in another society. Why is that so? Because the culture of society A or the first society is different from the culture of the second society. And since it is culture that informs what individuals consider as acceptable within the society and their way of life, then if the culture accommodates that, the society will see that to be the right thing to do. And so in that regard, it is acceptable. Now, the society frowns on a given particular conduct. It means that that culture does not really accept that conduct as being a good one. And for that matter, would not want to have individuals with such conduct. And so it will vary. However, there are certain basic conduct considered to be right, and generally across board though, which is very difficult, but it is expected. Thou shalt not kill. And if you kill, it's unacceptable. And there isn't any society here that's probably that I know, any civilized society that will say that that behavior is acceptable, unless justified within all the other, legal arguments and so on. But we could have some basic ones. Stealing, not acceptable almost in all cultures. Hard work, acceptable in all cultures. These are the acceptable behaviors, so you could consider universal if you want to.
All right, thank you so much. So can you then help us with some of the specific moral principles that are expected of us, especially within the work setting?
Well, probably for the sake of time, let me pick on a few, and I'm sure that as I mention those ones, your listeners probably will be able to think through that and then be able to generate some of the other indicators.
Yeah, sure.
The first one I will want to pick on is integrity.
Okay.
Now, integrity is one workplace ethics that, or one could call it work value that employers expect of all employees. When we say integrity, it may look simple, but quite a broad, concept. Doing what is right when no one is looking at you, and when no one is seeing you, but you do the right thing because it is the right thing to do. That is being of integrity. If you are expected to be of integrity, your boss doesn't need to be around for you to do the right thing. Customers, co-workers, or other stakeholders see you as being a function of that concept integrity. In fact, customers will want to come to you for to be served, and they are even with the company simply because of you. And when one is of integrity, it means that that individual will ensure that the right thing, in other words, the right thing here defined within the workplace concept or the work community as being right, is always done irrespective of who you come into contact with. And so you do not expect anyone to remind you that you are to report at work at the exact time you are to be there, and probably early. You do that without anyone seeing you. You attend to customers as if you're giving them the best offer service. You don't need anyone to remind you how you should do it. If it comes to co-workers, you are such that every employee can trust you and believe that you stand for the truth and you do what is expected. In fact, most of the times with this value, you tend to be more dependable and more responsible. Another value or workplace value that comes to mind has to do with responsibility. Now, when you are responsible, it simply means you know what is expected of you and you do exactly what is expected of you. Number one, you accept the task and the challenges that confront your work. You accept mistakes when you commit one. You make the effort to live beyond the challenges. You are responsible means you want to ensure that whatever you are giving, you get to the end of that task and you do that right. All employers expect of employees to be responsible. And whatever changes that arise in the course of your work, you ensure that you have duly informed your boss of the changes so there exist and how you intend, addressing them. If you are responsible in a team, whoever is working with you knows where the team is heading to. It's a value that is of immense, importance to employers, and more so even within the season or the environment we find ourselves. That because of COVID, businesses are really finding it difficult. We would need those employees that will be able to ensure that clients or customers, for that matter, visit the workplace and would love to be there all the time. This is not a time to engage a customer and you would never like to be at that place again. So the sense of responsibility of an employee is key at the workplace. We are expecting strong work ethics. And when I say strong work ethics, hard work never kills anyone. If you believe that whatever you are doing, you must do it and do it well, that is key. Remember, this work ethics is what all employers are looking for in their employees. Generating that positive mindset, the positive attitude to work, the fact that this is where I earn my source of livelihood. This is what my family and myself depend on. I must work as if it is my own business. That positive mindset, that positive attitude to work is what is needed here. And remember, it is this positive attitude, the feeling, the opinion, the mindset you have towards work. Oh, after all, if I work hard, it's the owners that benefit. If you have this negative work attitude, it will translate to the behaviors you put up at the workplace. So employees must ensure that they have a positive attitude to work and they take work so seriously and ensure that whatever they start and then they put their mind on to do, they must get it to the end and get it right. There is no work without challenges. But if you have a positive attitude, you accept challenges as one of the things that will come your way. You spend less of your energies focusing on the challenges and spend more of your energy on what you can do best, even within these challenging circumstances. However, some will spend almost the entire life talking and complaining about the challenges. That is the negative attitude, work attitude I'm talking about. So strong work ethics is very important. And that strong work ethics lead to developing and possessing a positive attitude to work. We could mention issues like being self-motivated. There are a whole lot of things going on now. We know the COVID environment and the COVID wind blowing, but you must be able to be focused and motivate yourself that we shall overcome this. Now, self-motivation is key. If you have it, what it means is that employers do not need to spend so much training you to be motivating yourself. It means that you will tell yourself, I can do it. And that can do spirit is what will drive you throughout. Now, at this stage, being self-motivated means encouraging yourself to be taking responsibilities, encouraging yourself to be taking on shadows, and then having the necessary attitude towards it that you will get to the end of it. Some will be talking about accountability, which of course is also one important, key value that we would expect. Whatever resources you are giving, you make sure at the end you justify how the resources have been utilized and why certain decisions were taken, and then make sure the ones that provided you with the resource have a fair justification for how the resources are being utilized. It's important that we become accountable to our department, accountable to the team we work with, accountable to the organizations or businesses, and to some extent, unions that we belong. Professional behavior is key, particularly so now. Employers value employees who exhibit professional behavior and at all times. And professional behavior begins right from your appearance. From your appearance, the way you speak or the way you communicate, the way you look at others, and the way you present yourself professionally. You make sure you raise the professional bar to the next level. So, Patricia, I believe that I have picked on quite a few that your listeners probably could think through, and then probably as we progress, questions could also got some of them emerging. I've not also forgotten discipline, and for me, that is key. We need to be disciplined. We need to be disciplined. And in all that, I have mentioned the key word there is discipline and discipline and discipline.
Wow.
Dedicated to your work and determined to get to there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Doc. This is very revealing, especially when you talk about integrity and what it means. Not, doing things when you know that people are watching or your boss is watching. Sometimes we do the right thing when people are watching, or we do the right thing when we think that the person who will reward us is watching. That is not integrity. Integrity is doing the right thing, whether people are watching or not. And I think it's key. And the discipline you mentioned, yes, it's as if it's the glue that holds every other thing together in terms of the other values that you mentioned: responsibility, strong work ethics, positive attitude, self-motivated. Sometimes, we tell ourselves that, look, I'm working for this person, and it seems as if my hard work is not appreciated. And therefore, instead of continuing with a positive attitude or work ethics, then you begin to relax and say, after all, nobody is rewarding me. And so you begin to relax and start even demonstrating negative, work ethics and talking negatively about the organization. So when we have this self-motivating spirit, then that helps us that whether we are being rewarded today or not, we will still do the right thing at the right time within the right context. And I think it's key. Thank you so much for that. Doc, we are talking about, so I'm thinking that you have given us the positive work ethics. So the opposite is also true. The opposite will also be the negative work ethics. Unless there are other negative work ethics that when we turn the positive ones, the other way, it will not be the same. Then it can help us with that.
Patricia, I agree with you. Sometimes unethical workplace behaviors, I agree with you. It's not all that we will probably reverse it and then we'll pick probably some sure. But we would like to briefly touch on a few.
Okay.
Number one, there are certain things you don't need to do. It has implication for your character and your personality, and it is really too bad to be tagged with lies. The first one, lying. You see, this is one thing we start with at the school, the school level, and then we find a way to turn around things, and we're able to meet mom and dad all the time home, and then we grow with it, and as we grow, it becomes more of an attitude, expression, a mindset with God that anytime we are in tough, times, or anytime we find ourselves wanting, we have to lie to find our way out. And then we send this to the workplace. And it's very dangerous behavior that we should kill, and immediately. So I was talking about the
lying.
Lying. Lies has become so embedded and part of our life to the extent that we don't see anything wrong with it. Rather, we see everything right with it because we believe that it always takes us out of trouble. But actually, it is also shaping a character for you that with time at the workplace, no one will take you serious, and you will have a name tagged with it. In fact, lies kills trust and affect relationship to the extent that that relationship will no longer hold. And the relationship here, you could take it outside to family context and it still holds. You could bring it to the workplace, employer, employee. You were always lying. Your boss can never believe anything you say because you always give him the opposite of the truth. And that is not really a cool thing. And we should move or desist from that. Lies are actually things that we begin with and we take it for granted, that we grow with it. We process it in our mind and justify it all the time. And then with time, it becomes a behavior and then a practice. And sometimes I call it, it's become a norm. We always want to defend it. Now, the other thing that mostly get common at the workplace between bosses and their subordinate has to do with taking credit for one's hard work. I don't know, but you see, when someone does something right, the person needs to be accorded that credit. No circumstance should you take someone's credit for yourself. That is not right. That every society sees that one to be wrong behavior and will always be frowned upon. So it builds indiscipline, hatred, and sometimes mistrust. Your subordinate will never be happy with that. Always let them know that they worth the credits that they have been given, and do not take their credits from them. If they do what is right, please let everyone know that they've done something good that deserves that recognition. Never take their spotlight away from them. Now, there's another dimension of behavior.
Just a moment, Doc. John says a bit of lies will not be too bad, particularly when you know your boss will react to the hard fact. You know how your boss will react to the hard fact. So he's saying that sometimes people call something a white lie. So I think that's what John is talking about.
Unfortunately, we are Black Africans, so we don't have white light. We have to have a black light. And lies are lies. There's no small one. And then you remember the bits, the small bits builds up to give you the big lie that you have to give. And it always begins with the small one. Please, there's nothing like that. Just let your boss know that you will tell the truth. And the truth is always bitter.
But I think it also depends on how you say that truth, how you
Yes.
put it. Sometimes it's not that what you're saying is not true, but the way you say it will make your boss react in a certain way. Yeah, we should be mindful.
I understand where he's coming from. Sometimes some bosses are really too mistrustful, and then everything you say, they react quite a bit too aggressive. So we want to keep it, and then no, it's not the best thing. Tell him the truth. Tell him, boss, I'm sorry, but I'm going to let you know what happened, and then let him know. You see, once you do that, anytime he needs the truth from you, anytime he needs the truth anywhere, it's you he will come to. Because we all know the people we work with. You know the one that will tell you what you want to hear, and you know the one that will tell you the truth. I have a worker that will look straight in my eyes and say that, Doc, I disagree with you, and I'm being frank. We don't agree with you, and they can't say it, but I am saying it. Now, sometimes the way you say it, I just burst into laughter. The way he said it, and then I asked, "Is it true?" Then about 5 of them, they all said, "Yes, Doc, yes, Doc." I said, "Wow." So sometimes we should find a nice way of saying the truth, and I mean, we are human. You could always find it better, but please don't entertain the lie and say that they are white lie. We are Black Africans, so we believe in what is the white truth and not the white
lie. Right. Okay. Thank you, Doc. Edna, Lord, please, before you continue, Edna says, when your boss knows you, it saves you from a lot of things. So, for instance, if the boss says, "Follow my lead," and you know his lead is wrong, you need to let him know it will not work. It will not work. I mean, but respectfully though. And I think it ties in with what you're saying though.
Yes. And thank you very much, because that's exactly what it is. There is one thing that we do in this country is more to do with culture, though. Now we need to be working on it.
Yeah.
The issue of verbal abuse and verbal harassment. And sometimes I even say behavioral harassment itself. Sometimes within the opposite sex, at the workplace, we make statements loosely against the opposite sex, and it's really not working. It's not right at all. We might think that we're joking, but it's not a joke. It's hurting. And please, that is not a good workplace ethical behavior. We need to desist from that. And sometimes it could be like a tease, trying to tease someone that really is getting the person hurt. You need to immediately retreat. And some of these things are not good. Some go to the extent of even pushing to a sense of violence and other unacceptable conduct. We need to. The other thing is theft. These days we have a nice name for it. We call it corruption and all that. But I am looking at corrupt practices in general, and the one common practice at the workplace is theft. Sometimes we pick corporate property as if they are ours, send it home and use it, and we don't see anything wrong with it. This is really the worst of it all. Corporate asset, and it's become a personal asset. You took it without permission. And sometimes some will be using their office's power to suppress others, and then use these things. You do this, and I give you that conditional kind of. It's really not. What I mean is saying that you are the boss. You only qualify for promotion if you end up having something to do with me. Then I will bless you. These are all corrupt practices. They are not good. They are unacceptable, practices or behavior at the workplace. Because these days they call it sex for job, sex for grade, sex for promotion, sex for everything. And it is wrong. Everything is wrong. It should be merit for that rather than therefore and those things. And we need to move away from some of these practices. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Doc. So my next question then is, what would be the implication of some of these these unethical behaviors on the career advancement of employees? What are the implications if we demonstrate these unethical behaviors at workplace? How does it affect our career?
Okay. First of all, I would like to look at it from probably two sides.
Okay.
To the employee in question that is exhibiting good workplace ethics.
Okay.
Over time, you build trust and a good relationship with your employers. Now, employers are interested in your hard work and your performance over the period. And they are the first, in most cases, to prompt you, to remind you, to inform you. And if you have a good boss, will tell you, would you consider doing a professional program in this area? And we will take the cost. How do you feel? Now, as you keep working on a given task or schedule over and over, you begin to develop some love for the job. And I always say that do not work for your employer, work for yourself. So you work to make yourself happy. So you go to the workplace, you work to be happy. And doing what makes you happy is fun. Now, as you do that over and over, you get so much experience in the given field. You develop so much interest in that field. And this is where the issue of developing a career comes involved. So you see, with time, the fact that you have developed good work ethics in itself helps you to develop attitude and behavior towards a given field of work. And that field of work, you will want to advance in that area yourself. So first, it promotes self-advancement. So that is personal to the individual. You get the motivation that I need to develop in this area. And it's because of the attitude you put out. The second thing is your employers may need you as a trusted employee that they will want to invest in to develop in that area. Remember, developing you, taking the cost in itself, is a load well taken off. And you concentrate on developing that career aspiration you always dreamt of. With time, and these are normally real life issues. With time, you see that you started as probably an accounting student. Then you started working in a bank. Because of your love and affection for the banking job, your boss called you one day and said, can you start looking at CIB programs? It will be great to charter as a banker. You are just perfect for this career. And then the bank will be interested because you already got a passion for the job already. And for the career already. You could get the support from the company, and then you are there. Again, as a career you developing, you are in a position to mentor others on the path to developing a career. And with time, it takes quite a shorter time to get into the top of your career. And it is all to do with sometimes referrals as a result of your positive work attitude. Some could take 10 years in that line of career, others 35 years in getting to the top. Somebody uses just 5 years, and it's a work attitude. It's a work attitude. Workplace ethics is key. It's one of the best tools to get to the top. But of course, there are challenges and hindrances here and there, but I can assure you that that is the one best tool to get to the top. You're working so hard, everyone is looking at you. Keep working, enjoy what you're doing. You're gaining what we call experience over time. That exposure you had to gain that experience, no one will ever take it away from you. And it's never written in any textbook for you to have a program on that. That's the beginning. That's what triggers the career development. And this has implications as well. Also for your family, for your friends, the pride, and then all that comes with it. But the most important thing is, it is always a trigger for career, growth, and it has a serious relationship with that. Every company will want to invest in the one that give a positive touch to performance. Every organization will want to reward whoever contribute to higher performance and results. And so that's what I would like to say about the career choices.
Okay, thank you so much, Doc. We'll come to because you mentioned the ethical ones and what they do to our career advancement. So we'll go to the negative one. But before then, AB says time is also stolen from work. That is not reporting to work early or leaving early, going beyond break hours, etc. They are all. He's talking about, he said taking company properties and all that. He said time is also, if you take the companies.
Maybe we're talking about company resources. So
yes,
so then the time is fine.
Yeah.
But how many of us are not at the workplace and watching one thing or the other using the company's internet, watching some stuff, I don't want to mention names here, but watching stuff that have nothing to do whatsoever to the progress and development of the company. Yeah. And then not reporting in time. Some will take a break, and during the break they will report in 4 hours and a whole lot. These are not good, workers.
Thank you so much. So then, the reverse, how will the negative attitude or unethical behaviors affect our career advancement?
Okay, you see, I think like you seem to be good at the reverse.
The reverse
principle. So, because of your negative attitude to work and your negative work ethics, your colleague, your co-workers can never trust you to be anyone to lead them. Trust me.
Yeah.
You just, when it comes to performance, you are graded low. So then it does not make any logical sense for the company to invest in your career path. That's one. Two, that self-motivation you derive for working, for having a positive work ethic will not also be there to drive you to develop a career in a field. Because in the first place, you don't actually have a field. They're mostly the ones that when you ask them, they do everything. I'm thinking of next year I might do ICA. But the next year you see them, oh yeah, I'm thinking of ICA next year. Every year is next year. The truth of it is they actually don't have that capacity to motivate themselves to take that drive. And so, one, you are not likely to have referrals. Your colleague, co-workers can't trust you. You are not actually working to develop a field in whatever you do, for you to say that I am, improving the corporate performance to the extent that the company will want to even invest in developing a career. You even build a career and then you collapse it later. The negative work ethics, in fact, is negatively related to career development, if I may put it that way. Because negatively related to performance. It produces negative results. Who would like to work with someone that is always complaining and does nothing at work? How can such a person lead you? And how can such a person motivate himself to actually develop a career, a life work experience over time?
Doc, so, what if these complaints are really genuine? I mean, we are giving off our best, but it seems we are not recognized. Like you said, when it goes wrong, yes, you are punished, but when it goes right, nobody says well done, and you feel that you are not being appreciated, and so you complain. So is it that sometimes, is it not the case that sometimes these complaints are justifiable, or what do you say?
Yeah, but the complaints are in fact, actually, I am not saying do not complain, but sometimes, you see, the mind is a very powerful tool. And it is the mind that actually controls everything we do. If you keep telling yourself, I am not fairly treated, I'm not fairly, I don't matter here, I don't matter here. You see, that negative feedback keeps building your mind with time. You see that your performance itself begin going up. Now, you can complain when things go wrong. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. What is not cool is allowing that negativity to wash out your thoughts and to have an effect on how you think about work, and that negative attitude towards work. Remember, it is what you think of, what you program, what you feel, that translates to behavior, to act, to conduct. So if it is that negative, obviously, you cannot produce anything. The point is, if you are working to make yourself happy, and you say that I am working for myself, I'm not working for my employer, you see that this is normally do not tend to have negative impact on you. Now, the reverse of the negative work ethics that I was talking about was that you see, it is more likely you may end up having disciplinary issues. You're going to be served query letters and things like that. And normally these things become basis for one not to be rising up. How do you recommend someone that is always sleeping at work, and then someone that is always arguing and fighting, and that's what I'm talking about. I have not said you don't need to complain when things go wrong. In fact, you need that feedback. But do not keep telling yourself it is bad, I have to leave this place, it is bad. Meanwhile, you don't have any other place going, and you're always insulting your employers. You see, what the mind keeps focusing on is what you end up doing. And that's what makes you. And we need to work at it and then work to make ourselves happy and move on.
Wow. Thank you so much. Work to make yourself happy. So work for yourself, not for your employer. This is very profound, because if you have that attitude that, look, I'm working for yourself, like the songwriter, whatever you do for yourself, whether you do good or you do bad, you do for yourself. So exactly. If you have that,
I like that song actually.
If you do good, you do for yourself.
My corporate governance student will sing it for you. I always say that when the corporations are misbehaving, you leave them. They are doing that for themselves. You know, when it collapses, it's everyone that suffers. So when someone is doing wrong, the person is doing wrong. It will affect you in the end. Think positive and receive positive, you know, at all. And that will drive you through.
Think positive and you will see positive. Thank you so much. This is getting interesting. What this tells me is that, look, my destiny is in my own hands. My career advancement is in my own hands. I need to demonstrate the right attitude, the right behaviors at work, because if I don't, I shouldn't expect to progress in my career. And if I do demonstrate positive work ethics, then as a matter of course, I should expect progression. Doc, there are some who are very competent at what they do, technically very competent, but attitude-wise, you know, very lousy. And sometimes their kind of skill may be so scarce that organizations or employers usually will ignore and then allow them to do the things they're doing because they seem to be untouchable. How would that affect the workplace in general? Because if, as an HR professional, I do something and you think that, oh, you can fire me and get another HR professional very soon, so that's okay. But that technical person is doing or demonstrating these negative work ethics, and still we allow it to continue. How would that affect the general, you know, workplace morale-wise and every other thing?
It negatively affects the workplace morale and then all that. That is true. But then you see, he thinks that for now he cannot be replaced. That is good. He could be there. He gets stagnant, okay, and then get stale over time. You know, as you keep doing it, they are the ones that normally will say, maybe and they always angry with themselves because no one is going to push you up. And then you stay there knowing everything and bossing everyone. It's just one day. There will be a replacement because there's no one who is no replacement. Wow. It's just a matter of time. That is the reason why. You see, there's one thing too. So when you have these attitude, negative and bad, so bad, but then they don't have a replacement. They will just be accommodating it.
You.
And the word is accommodating you. So it means that you have a time span. It gets to that point. It is just a button, and you are off. You could complain for all that you know, but you just off. And that can truncate all your intent to develop your career. And again, we're back to the idea of having, because in developing a career, most of the times you can do over 60% yourself, you know, the self-motivation, the drive. And you always need that support. And if you're able to get top management support, that is great. If not, it could be family support, it could be any other support. But even in that, you still need a positive attitude. If it's not there, please begin working on it. You need it to get to the top. You can get to the top by any other means, but with the same negative attitude, you will descend like a free fall. It's just one day, and you just learn.
This is so true. So it's a combination of character. I'm using character to represent the positive work ethics. So it's a combination of character and competence. Character and competence. And like the local adage says, especially regarding women, you know, one more fed over so somebody may recommend you because even the person knows you and then takes you there, you are employed. But because of your negative attitude, if they don't accommodate you for you to remain as you entered, they would have to fire you. So I think that, and we maybe one way or the other, we lack some of these things. Maybe yours is just, your mind might not have come to that, but you always use company, properties without permission. And sometimes we take some of them home. We take A4 sheets, those things, and we think it's cool. And we are at the workplace, and instead of working, we're actually surfing the internet. And with what? With the company's internet facility, right? And so all these, and if you tell yourself that, look, I would demonstrate positive work ethics or behaviors at work, consciously making the effort to do that over time, like Doc kept saying, over time. So let's make a decision right here and now that those that we consider negative, that are not helping us in our career advancement, we'll begin to work on them. And those that are positive, that we are demonstrating all right, but we are not even seeing how it is affecting our careers positively, I will urge us to continue demonstrating, because in the long run, it will help, even if not within the organization. Other people who come there and notice what you are doing, may one day poach you, and then you are going higher and higher. So let's take note of that and be mindful of that. Doc, if there are no questions, then maybe your final words so that we can leave. Edna.
Sorry about that.
Right. Edna says, very deep things being spoken about here. Some of these negative ethics we hold are the reason our organizations run down daily. And then we are the same people who complain. I think Edna has hit the nail right on the head. Doc.
Yes, please.
So what Edna is saying, the very things that the negative ethics that we demonstrate are the ones that run the organizations down, and then we ourselves will come back and complain, And I think that is very deep.
Yeah, it comes back to your son. If you do good,
you do for yourself. If you do bad, you do for yourself.
And then you see, we all know, we see, sometimes we make the report, no one take the action, and then finally we are all down. And then that's the point.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much, Doc. At this point, I think you can give us your final words, and we'll call it a day.
Well, my final words, normally, we'll say that my final words are that it is final, so. But then I will say that we all have the capacity to do things right. We all have the capacity to give up our best at the workplace. There is no organization anywhere in the world without challenges. Mm-hmm. Let us accept that there will be challenges, but we need to develop a positive and a strong work ethic to survive in these turbulent times. We all know what happened from March right down to today. Businesses are trying to pick up. Yeah. This is the time they need the support of employees. And we will need, with positive attitude, we can all build and we can all be on the right path. I wish you all the best, and God bless you.
Thank you so much. God bless you too. Judith is clapping. Thank you so much, Doc. This has been very, very insightful and also very motivating. The whole idea of career coaching and mentoring class is to help us position ourselves on the path of career growth and advancement. And we get experts like Doc to help us chart the right path for our career advancement. And we are very grateful, Doc, for making the time to share it and keep reminding yourself that you have the capacity to demonstrate the right work ethics, strong work ethics that will put you on the path of career growth. And let's also, those of us who are managers or supervisors, let's try and bring the people that look up to us and report to us to also help us learn these ethics or bring our attention to them. Thank you so much. I remember that career coaching and mentoring class is brought to you by Sedat Consult with support from Logo Brand. Please contact Logo Brand on 020-395-4216, 020-395-4216 for all your branding and graphic designing needs. Thank you, everyone. Let's meet again, God willing, next week. Bye.